Hello, and welcome to Five Star Conversations in the Sun City. I'm Michelle M. Trey Hollis, and I'm your host. And I'm here in the beautiful space of El Paso, Texas. And this podcast seeks to explore and to share the diverse culinary landscape here in El Paso and the surrounding areas. What we're going to do here is we're going to be talking to local restaurateurs, hospitality groups, and other people in the ecosystem food chain, which I believe in. And, you know, the reason I'm doing this is kind of for my own selfish reasons, is because I love food and I love the whole industry of restaurant. Those are my people. And if you're watching this, they're probably your people too. It's culinary arts for a reason, because it really truly is an art to create delicious food and to be able to present that in a way that is enticing and entertaining and even educational, I should say. For you to get to learn and experience different flavors, not only from here in El Paso, but a lot of the restaurant owners, the chef operators, have a wealth of experience from around the world, and they bring those flavors back to you. And so, you know, if you're the type of person that eats out a lot, I highly recommend that you choose local places to eat, local restaurants, because you're going to get such a more personalized experience. You're putting more money back into our ecosystem. And most importantly, you can make new friends that actually have expertise in the culinary arts. And that really is an incredible skill and an awesome opportunity to kind of enhance your palate, and be able to be more familiar with the different varieties of wines, of tequilas, bourbons, whatever your fancy. You're just going to get a better experience by going to local restaurants. So now I started this podcast a couple of months ago, but we ran into a few challenges, which happens when you're starting something. Sometimes, and it should not deter you from continuing to move forward. So, I still am working with AG Cellular Repair. That's AG Cellular Repair. They are a sponsor, and what they do is you can go, and if you're having any issues with your phone, you can go to AG Cellular Repair and have your phone looked at, see if it is something that it will be a workable repair for you and your phone. And you may not have to get a new phone quite yet. You can have that repaired, and he's an expert. The owner's name is Edgar, and he is off of Gateway East, past Lee Trevino, in between Lee Trevino and George Dieter. So I definitely want to give him a shout out. What's up, Edgar? And just let you know that is a reliable, trustworthy source to getting your phone repaired. So definitely want to make sure that that's where you go. But moving forward, the studio that we are recording at, it's still in build mode, if you will, because what we found is that some of the guests that want to come through want to come with more than one person, and the studio is not set up for that yet. So we are working on that. And that's completely fine. So what I thought I would do, because I want to still be able to give value every single week on Tuesdays. And so today I thought I would talk about the wonderful world of service. It's an important conversation, and one thing that I found in restaurants is that if you don't have the right management, unfortunately, if you don't have the right systems in place, then people might not really be maximizing all the benefits of being a server. And I love servers. I myself am a server, and I have been throughout all of my pursuits in life. Yes, I'm a TEDx speaker. I was a professional job development specialist and employment consultant with Employment Solutions when I lived in Kentucky. And so from the coaching aspect of job development, I understand that because we also did have a culinary program at the College for Technical Education, which was a sister company to my company that I was working for, which was Bluegrass Career Services. And so we placed a lot of people in restaurants. So I understand that aspect of it. So, and what I'm doing is I'm sharing with you my knowledge and why you should listen to me on this subject because I know a lot about it. So not only did I help place people in companies, not only did I work with restaurants to help them find people to do jobs in their company and to onboard them properly and to give them support for job coaching, but I've also worked at a lot of restaurants, and I've worked at restaurants even while I was doing that job. I had a part-time job usually at some restaurant, whether it was Napa Prime in Versailles, Kentucky, when I was there. The owner there he was the general manager, the operating manager, I should say, at Bonefish Grill a few years before, and I had worked for him there. So that I worked at that national chain. Then I worked for him when he had his own spot in Versailles. I also worked for Weta Michael, who is many times over James Beard nominee. And she is internationally known, and she is in Midway, Kentucky. And I worked at Holly Hill Inn, which was an incredible upscale fine dining. Used to be a bed and breakfast, but it turned into a fine dining space that held events, weddings, and also 5-course meals. So I understand that side of dining. I've also worked at several national chains, P.F. Chang's, Red Lobster. I'm thinking those are the only ones that I'm coming up with right away. I've worked at a lot of restaurants, as you can see, and most recently, am really very excited to join the team at Lola Rose in Cimarron here in El Paso, Texas. And oh, it is such a beautiful joy to work there. I couldn't be more pleased with the amount of care and love and true executional excellence that Lola Rose, that everything about Lola Rose is and entails, from the food to the wine pairings to the alcohol, the crafted drinks. It's truly a mixology experience, and the staff is incredible. So that is a true example of a great restaurant to work at. Now, from all of and I've worked at several restaurants that were not great examples of places to work at. And unfortunately, that is the case. And I won't even list those because, that's not the point of this podcast. But what I want to share is just the opportunity when you land in a good place to work. Okay. When you find a restaurant that really cares about the product that they are producing, and they care about the guest experience, and you have an opportunity to develop a skill set in understanding wines and understanding, very intricate flavors and spices and methodologies of preparation, then it can be a life-changing experience. So what I'm going to do is just give you a few reasons, a few of the benefits of being a waitress, or a waiter, a server, because they are many-fold. What I found is that at all the restaurants I work at, the server personality is typically one of a very colorful personality. Usually they are artists or musicians, or they highly enjoy the arts. A lot of times they're in school, or they're start working on a business like I am, so these are the types of people that would work well in a restaurant. Okay. They're going to be people who care about themselves and about the way that they present information. They care about people. They care about their community. They want the benefit and understand the benefit of sharpening their communication skills and being able to persuade and create an experience for people. That's why I believe that there's so many artists in this space also, because when done correctly, when done correctly, a server creates an experience. The whole dining experience is like a production when done correctly. Okay, and that's the way that you want to go into it. But I'm going to get into a little bit more specifically of the benefits of being a waitress. Now, if you're someone who's thinking about waiting tables, this is going to really be helpful because I'm going to share with you things that's going to help you understand the opportunity that you have. And it's going to help you to make sure you ask the right questions of the restaurants that you're going to work at. Now, if you're a restaurateur, and you're watching this, then this is going to give you an idea of how the types of people that you want to attract into your space and how you can relay this benefit to your potential employees, because you want to be a good picker. Layla Hermosi, who's one of my favorites, Alex and Layla Hermosi, she says that in attracting people that you want to pick the right people first and foremost, and then you want these people to be able to be developed. So whether you're going into a job or you're hiring for a job, a server, make sure that the whole focus is to be your best, to learn. You want to learn as much as you can, and the learning doesn't stop once you take the test. You want to continue to learn. Why? Because then you can create and offer the best experience that the customer and the guest is prepared to enjoy. Okay, and so that's very important. So number one, the first benefit, and this is what most people I think gravitates towards, and that is having a flexible schedule. Waitressing often allows for flexible working hours, and that can be really great if you do have family and you really don't have a lot of time. You don't necessarily want to do a 9 to 5. You can work less hours as a server. So if that is something that is an important benefit to you, make sure that you ask the restaurant what their scheduling is like, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to sign up for 40 hours a week if that's not what you can commit to, because that's going to just take the joy out of it. So make sure that you communicate that. It's very important. And on the flip side, if you're a restaurant and you need full-time people, just be honest and communicate that, because what you don't want to do is just end up hiring people that aren't going to stay because they're not going to want to make that time commitment. It's always best and in fact, I'm going to kind of change it up a little bit, and I'm going to turn this conversation more to the restaurateur. But if you are wanting to get into the service business, this is going to be really great for you to understand too. Okay. But I'm going to direct all of my conversation to the restaurateur. Okay. So as a restaurateur, a chef owner or general manager, whatever your role is, if you're in charge of hiring, you want to be just really clear on the expectations of your servers. So again, if you do need people that are going to be full-time, then that's fine. Make it known, because the last thing you want to do is get people in the door just to, it's just not going to work. I'll give you a great example. I was hired at a restaurant, and I was told that every server had to start out as a host. And I thought, okay, fine. If that's the way that goes, I actually liked that. Because I said, okay, they really are serious about not just letting anybody serve. Great. But what happened was a week later, I saw a couple new people getting hired and they went straight to server. So obviously that really rubbed me the wrong way. And I was never really able to recover from that, the rudeness of that. And so I ended up quitting, because I was hired under false pretenses. I didn't have trust, and I felt taken advantage of, and I felt lied to. And I'm like, Why would you want to stay there? So why would you do that? Why would you tell someone one thing and then not uphold that? It doesn't work. It doesn't help anybody. So, so yes, be very clear with that. Okay. Okay. The next benefit is going to be cash tips. That's one of the biggest perks. You get to take tips home all the time. I did work at a place where I had to work a lot of hours. This was in Kentucky. I had to work a whole lot of hours and we got a check every week. During that time, that worked for it happened. It didn't really work for me, but I stuck through it because I really liked the people I worked with. And it was just in that era it just worked for me. And the checks were pretty big. They were for serving. I was making $100 to $1,500 a week. So the checks were big enough to where I could wait for the week. You know what I mean? And because we did tip share there. So that's something you want to consider too. Are you going to do tip share? Or is everyone just going to take their own? I don't know what the law is on that in Texas, so don't catch me, lying. Definitely. You know what? That will be something I cover in future episodes, okay? But the cash tip's very beneficial. It really is motivating to know you can go into work and that you can do your best and that you can walk out that same night with the money that you made. It really does make the laborious work of waiting tables very, very appealing. The only thing I would say is that make sure that you have a money saving plan. Again, I guess I'm talking to the server now again. But money management is a very important thing in these spaces though as well. So the third thing is social interaction. This is one of the biggest benefits in my experience of serving that you should really embrace. You get to talk to a lot of people. Not only do you get to talk to a lot of people, but these are people within your community. And no matter if you're in school, and I guess I do keep going back and forth, so forgive me. Listen, I'm kind of, this is one of those podcast episodes where you say, you know what, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to have a conversation with my people because you guys need this information and I want to be the one that provides it. And it's not the way I planned to do it, but I'm still here. So just bear with me, y'all. You know what I mean? We here. Okay. Social interaction. Okay. So, and as a restaurateur and as a chef owner, that is a big benefit. You should be communicating this benefit. And you definitely want to make sure as you're interviewing, are these people the type of people that appreciate social interaction? Are they great at communicating? And then you also want to impart upon your servers. You want to set the expectation that, hey, these are community people that are coming in here. So we want to make sure we take care of people. Our guests are not just another number. You never know. You actually might be meeting your next boss. And as a restaurateur, don't be afraid to say that. Don't be afraid. Because I know your first thought is like, oh, well, I don't want him to come here just to leave. Yes, you do. And I don't necessarily mean that. It's not going to happen overnight, so don't worry about that. But you want people who see this opportunity to grow and to be a part of the community, to serve the community. Because let me tell you this, when I worked at Bonefish Grill in Lexington, Kentucky, I waited on my boss for my job development job that I had for 6+ years. And it was through being of great service, communicating. She was talking to me, I was talking to her and her husband. And she ended up being the executive director that hired me. And it was wonderful. And my boss loved it. In fact, that Bonefish Grill, a lot of people ended up getting hired out of that job. That's great. You want to have the restaurant where people come to find good talent. Not a bad deal. Plus, guess what? People get jobs. Guess who they're still going to be, where they're still going to come back and bring their friends and tell everybody. So don't look at that as a negative. Look at that as a positive. And you want to make sure that you're hiring people that see that opportunity and that understand why giving that level of service is important. Also, um, being a fast paced environment. This is also a great thing for a lot of people don't want to sit behind and do a desk job while they're in school, while they're working on their art. You know, if they're artists and musicians, a lot of times I know if they're like me, they have a lot of energy and they would rather be walking around. They'll feel more fulfilled walking around, interacting with people and giving that great energy to your space. So it being fast paced is very important. One of my favorite things of and opportunities for being a waitress is the development of skills. You learn so much as a waitress. You have to know how to multitask, understand time management, problem solving, and communication. Now that's something that we see in the restaurant industry. You know, whenever I let people know about my passion for front of the house, training, and people are like, "Oh, that's great," because I think what happened with restaurants were put in a really messed up situation during COVID and during the pandemic. They were put, they kind of like went out of business overnight. And I was working at PF Chang's when that happened, as I was trying to figure out what to do with my business, what to do with my life, and where I wanted to move forward when I had moved back here to El Paso. And it was a scary time. And then coming back, we had the masks, and then we had to like wear gloves, and so understandably, it's been a hard transition. And then you've got now the younger generation coming into serving positions, and they kind of went through it during COVID. So here's, this is a very important thing to me, is that as managers at restaurants, you have a unique opportunity to help the next generation develop these skills. And you have to be good at delegating, you have to be good at managing and at coaching. If you want to have the leading edge in business, because the opportunity is there, especially for restaurants. And if you can get really good at attracting an incredible team and creating a great culture of learning and growth, then you're going to attract people that will want to stay. And the type of people that just want to wait tables, they'll want to come there and they'll want to stay. And then the other type of people who are supplementing their income, because they're in school or because they are starting a business and they want to have that cash in hand while they're growing, they're going to appreciate being able to learn skills from you and the way that you run business and the way that you lead. So it's really a big opportunity to really pour into the community and help these people develop the skills. And the best way to do that is to have those systems in place and to do regular training, and to do the training from a space of empowerment rather than punishment. That's just the best way. How can we empower our people to continue to learn the menu, to be as excited about the food that we offer, and the drinks that we pair with the food, and how to really get into it. Those are all things that are really going to help your waiters, your servers, to really build their skill set, and including understanding flavors, understanding spicing, understanding the different foods that you're bringing in from all over, or the here in El Paso, maybe it's Tex-Mex, or it's very Hispanic or El Paso culture infused. So you have an opportunity to really educate your guests on the sauces, what's in the sauces, what's in the food, The local beer or the local liquor that you're using. When servers are having those kind of conversations, then it's so much more interesting to the guests that are coming in, and they're like, wow, this is really cool. I'd love to try something local, you know? So I highly recommend that you um, help your waiters and waitresses develop that skill, develop the skill of inviting your guests in more to the unique experience that you offer. And then finally, six, opportunities for advancement. Waitressing can lead to opportunities for advancement in the restaurant industry, whether at your location, or they may grow and learn and grow, and then maybe they might be able to move forward and join a global group, or if you're a restaurant that is planning to expand and to scale, then you might be raising some of your future leaders up right in your staff, in your front of house staff. And so, that is pretty much that. But, I know a lot of people feel like restaurants are not profitable, or that like you can't make a lot of money in restaurants. And I reject that. I reject that notion. I just believe that it's 2023 and that there just needs to be an upgrade in processes and systems and an infusion of a powerful and energetic culture and a lot of coaching and looking at your operation almost like a B2B service. Okay. And it is business to consumer, but it's also business to business. So that gets more into that gets more into the revenue operations as far as marketing and sales and community involvement, which we'll talk about another time. But when you start looking at your establishment and your concepts from that lens, there's a lot of opportunities for advancement. A lot of times, restaurants also have the most beautiful people working at them. And a lot of times, those people that work for you are already on social media. So that's another one I will add to. Another benefit is that if you set up your culture in a way to where you can give your star players a chance to shine and to share their expertise, and on social media, you can have content all the time. And it doesn't always have to, you can have the latest iPhone and you can record your bartender making drinks. They can have their own personal TikTok or Instagram, or it can be with the companies. I recommend that you do both because that's just you're going to get more reach that way. But when you start an interaction on the social media side, and you allow your artistic and very plugged into social media staff to bring some of those trends to the restaurant, to bring their artistic ideas to the restaurant, they're going to be more invested, and they're going to have more fun, and they're going to have more pride for where they work, and they're going to want to do a better job, and they're going to enjoy the journey, and they're going to be in it with you. So, the main thing is to figure out what they want. So when you're in the hiring process, you're bringing people onto your team, or even the people that you have now, have a discussion, figure out what they want, and figure out how you can support them in getting it. And, have a little social media group. Not everybody has to participate, but the people that would like to participate, give them, empower them with opportunities to bring some of those creative ideas to the table. You'll be surprised how much creativity you're missing out on by not having those conversations at your space. So that's it. I just wanted to come on here and say hello and let you know that the show is going on. We just had a few things in life that just kind of stalled as far as us being able to bring guests, but we've heard the demand, and the demand is that people do want to have more than they want to bring somebody with them on, which I love that. So we're just postponing probably till around October before we bring guests back on. But also, I had some personal things in my life. As I said, I've shifted and joined a new team. And in respect to that and to respect for myself and energetically, I do want to make sure that I give quality content and that I also get myself situated for the things that I'm creating so that I can give my best, because it's always best to give your best. But in the meantime, on Tuesdays, I will still come on to the channel and I will still share some important information. So whether it's, what kind of manager should I be looking for in the hiring process? How do I systematize my onboarding process? How do I run social media campaigns? What are some great ideas there? You can count on Tuesdays on this channel for me to come on and share some of those things. And then soon we will resume with guests, because the main thing I want to do on this channel also is to share the beautiful minds and creative energies that are our culinary experts here in El Paso and also New Mexico. I've got some great guests lined up. And that will be coming in. And again, they're restaurateurs. They are food ecosystem experts, so it's going to be a great experience for all of you. And you're going to get to know more of these people so that you can go and check out their spaces as well. And also for the restaurateurs and the budding restaurant caterers, etc., I do intend for this to be a very informative channel for you too, which is why I went ahead and did this this conversation about the benefits of being a waitress. So I hope this was helpful. Drop a comment and hit subscribe if this was helpful, and drop a comment below. Let me know if this was helpful and what other conversations that you would like to have when it comes to the wonderful world of food and hospitality. So with that, this has been 5-Star Conversation in the Sun City, and I am your host, Michelle M. Trey Hollis. I hope you have an incredible day and keep rising and shining. High five to the vibe. Peace.